Alive. This is Celeste from the Early Morning Ascension show, and we're so excited. We're going to do a video today about, I've been having these downloads as I've been telling you, and we're going to review just to see if the visuals are going to work a little bit better. And in the near future, the resource is up and going. All of my illustrations are going to be made new, and we're going to be doing videos and all of the things to advance and enhance my teachings for souls progression, soul's evolution, and the light programs that I am a part of with the Mother Father's divine plan for the evolution of all the multiverse. So I'm really, really excited. So welcome, welcome, welcome. That last video that we did on trans, the DNA, and the soul's blueprint is about the soul's progression and the soul's evolution through all that we call experience, not time, because as we get into 5D, we're going to be releasing more and more what we understand and know about time. And so we're going to show you the illustrations and releasing the linear perspective of time, because there's infinite earths, there's infinite experiences based on the vibration and the perspective and the aspects that you hold. So we're going to release as much as we can about time because it keeps you in a linear as opposed to a multidimensional perspective. So we're going to be releasing the lower terms and terminologies, and why all of my videos since the beginning of my channel has used different words and different vibrations of words, because it allows you to step your vibration into being multidimensionality. So this is what I am as a crystal, as a hybrid, as a divine master in the master's programs and the light programs of evolution and the hybrid programs of consciousness throughout the whole multiverse. And so we want to level you up in your understandings about who you are as a soul, what you exist within, and what truly exists within you. So we're going to a few mind-bending topics today about evolution, and it is based on the vibration. So let me know how you like this experience of a video with the visuals, because it's going to be a fairly short channel, but I had a download about this based on the changes that we're all going through right now. Earth and our perspective of Earth is going through a vibrational shift, meaning that the experiences each person has and their timeline and their Earth is different and unique. And it's really important to understand that every person in your household, every person that you know, every person in your community has a different earth perspective. There's infinite earths that you exist within. The chat room is always protected. Thank you, Holy Spirit and Lord Michael. Please release any nefarious energies that are throwing energies at my throat chakra. I'm going to continue to speak in the highest and divine light programs. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And just remember again that Interpol is watching and keeping track of everybody that signs on to my videos for the investigations of organized hate programs. I'm going to continue in my soul's path. Nobody will stop me. I'm going to keep speaking. If you don't like my channel, then you can get off. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And all of the earths that you switch to is moment for moment for moment for moment. It's based on your core vibration. This is always a universal truth. It will always be a universal truth. It will never change. Vibration is how you manifest and how you experience each earth. What reality you exist in is based upon your direction, your focus, and your intention. And that is through the center of your vessel, the meat suit, if you will, of who you are. And then you can experience vibration based on your sacred trinity alignment. And then your higher self and your guide assisting you in experiencing different timelines and different earths based on your core vibration. This is why what we talked about before, those that talk about and experience destiny swapping and thinking they can jump into a higher vibrational earth timeline when they're lower vibrational earth, they simply can't. They haven't earned the consciousness. They would enter into psychosis because this earth is not this earth. The consciousness of this earth is not this earth. And so every channel, if you go back and listen to the earliest of Bashar videos, Daryl Anka, Lee Carroll, they will all attest to the same universal truth. There are infinite number of earths, there are infinite number of timelines, and whatever your core vibration is, whatever earth you will be remaining on. So this is why we want to talk about the aspects of you, the infinite aspects of you that spiral in the now, because there's no past, there's no future, it's all now. You know, where each of these aspects are vibrationally will determine on what earth you exist with on. It is within the core vibration of what you hold. And this is where the cults and the secret sects and the societies must understand they cannot be doing lower vibrational practices and hop into a higher vibrational body or skills or gifts and talents, higher vibrational being that's earned it through infinite lifetimes, and they think they're going to pop in, they're going to swap destinies and take the soul and take the spirit of this person's body and get their gifts when they're in a lower vibrational dimension and they're in a lower vibrational body, lower vibrational thoughts, they haven't cleared their density, they're in jealousy, hate, and envy. That body could not take on the light of this. Two totally different quantum earths, quantum different realities. They're not even in the same timeline. So what's coming up next is there will be a shifting out of the lower timeline, and you will no longer in these higher timelines This body here will not even see these beings because they're going to be shifted out. That is the pluckinesses that Source Creator has said. And we're going to talk about that because I was asking questions in the download this morning, is what's happening with these ones and the lineages and the families that have been so time, and they've been given so much time to evolve into the higher vibrational earth median. Remember we talked about in our video that there is a base median vibration of every earth. So if this earth has a base medium vibration of 4D moving into 5D, this is lower 3D. This being has to master the 4D, 5D energy to transcend into a 5D experience, but they simply can't. They haven't done the transmuting. This is where we talk about on my channel, and nobody else talks about it, is the soul's progression, because there's a lot of misunderstanding on our planet about what you've been told in church and state, which is misguidance and wrong, about how a body from any life to death process goes into another experience. This is a unique timeline for Earth right now, because you don't just get your next timeline moving up into a higher vibrational next Earth lifetime. This is the last 3D Earth timeline. So if these practices, behaviors, thoughts, and beliefs, because that's what creates a being, you're a spirit in a body, and this meat suit is directed by your perspectives, your beliefs, and your soul's blueprint. Everyone is given on the planet, everyone is given the same access to God, everyone's given the same access to potentiate light, everyone's given the same access to potentiate evolution and growth. But if you are not possessing that, you don't choose that, body can only stay where it is vibrating at. So the soul in and of itself, the personality in of itself, the DNA of itself is what I teach is evolution. If you choose not, you will not reach this base median of what the vibration of this earth is. So here's the progression of every person is going to be different. Every human on the planet has a different perspective of the earth, a different perspective of their timelines, a different perspective because they each have different directions, intentions, and focuses. Every single person has a different soul blueprint. It's the puzzle only that person and God belong to. And that's why nobody has any right to dictate or touch or say or enforce abuse to say that this person has to stay in this lower vibrational earth. It doesn't. They have no right to do that. It's one of the highest spiritual universal laws, right use of free will and non-interference. And many of these dark occultists and dark practices and warped masons and warped witches that we've been talking about, these families that have been left in lower vibrational beliefs, they refuse to heal, they refuse to face wounding, they refuse to face their own sexual dysfunctions and their own issues. They're remaining on this. Their body cannot carry anything higher in a 4D. They cannot carry that light. So there's no way this dark body will ever take on beliefs and perspectives and light consciousness of this being here. It just will not occur. They will remain in psychosis because this body cannot take on the multidimensionality and gifts used in this. This being that has taken the progressive path, this being that has taken the transmutational path, this person that has taken the higher vibrational earth, this person is now sitting in a space where this person in the house of the many mansions, all aspects of itself, no matter where the spiral of now is, which is what I'm learning how to do, is I'm learning how to see many dimensions of the earths that I exist upon, and I'm able to see the windows that are, the veils that are falling. I can see into the windows of the many mansions. Now, my teams have told me many experiences. There are some, like when my grandparents passed, I wasn't able to connect with my grandparents after they passed. My teams had to come in and give them messages on behalf of parents because they were operating in a lower vibrational earth than I was. So I wasn't able to listen to their messages, and I didn't want to drop my vibration down to receive those messages because they weren't as higher energy as I was. And so my teams did, vibrational teams, the seventh dimensional, they did have to translate messages because it was just on a lower vibration than me. And so that does happen as well. So these families and lineages and the ones that we've been talking about that have been organized hate groups across the planet, this is where everybody on our planet must level up our understanding of what is the soul's progression, what is really incarnation, because there's various different religious beliefs, and the religious beliefs aren't the be-all and end-all. They're not. They're lower vibrational consciousness. It is not the truth of universal higher order. It is not the truth for universal spiritual laws, and it is not the universal truth laws. So religious beliefs will have to be amended. And it's fine. Everybody can choose their own free will. If you are going to remain in religious beliefs, you're going to remain on the lower vibrational earth, because A soul's progression through time must offer itself the regeneration of shifting beliefs, transmuting beliefs, allowing yourself to adjust through time and ever move up the ascension ladder or the Jacob's ladder. Because the all of you wants to be reculminated, rebrought into the wholeness of itself. It's the God returning to God. These God aspects, these are all God aspects turning to the source of you, you and source. That is the highest aspect of you in the 13th dimension. So if you're choosing not to ascend, if you're choosing not to move into a higher vibrational earth, the only way that you can ever experience anything is in this earth, because that's vibration. Hate, envy, jealousy, greed, gluttony, all of those vibrations remain on the lowest earth, and these timelines are being pulled and plucked because these beings have been given infinite warnings. It's basic common sense, basic human rights, basic common law. Don't touch another, do unto others. It's a basic common law. But because they're running from demons and entities, entity attachments through their wounding, jealousy, envy, hate, sexual dysfunction, sexual kinks, and all those debauchery things, they've brought those energies into the being of themselves, and they're becoming more and more negative. They can never ever take on a higher being's energy. They just couldn't. They couldn't, and no higher being would ever give their energy to somebody that's this low when they've told and shown, stop for 3 years. Because that is the grace of God saying enough is enough. This has to be away because this person is needed to help all other earths and all other timelines. So that it just doesn't make sense for this light being to go back and be with any of these beings in this experience, because it's not progressing evolution, and it's all about the evolution of your soul. My soul would never be evolved if these people kept playing my energy field. These people are being removed. And these beings are some from my other families from other timelines, because they've been given, the reptilians, Anunnaki, if you will, some of the Anunnaki, some of them, and this I had a download from the reptilians, some, because I do have a ninth dimensional reptilian father, and there are many reptilians that are sad about the lower reptilians that have chosen not to ascend because they were given 3 years. Many of the old reptilian families from many other galactic wars and galactic timelines, there was a spiritual war over my spirit, my soul, and my timelines. And of course, they don't have an ounce of fucking right. Again, these people don't understand because they're stuck in lower vibrational beliefs. A lot of them are mentally imbalanced because of the demons and the entities that they have practiced within their lower vibrational experiences. They have not aligned with the sacred trinity that I teach. They aligned with the lower vibrations on earth. They aligned with the lower demons and entities of earth, the lower realms, which we call, there is a lower realm, a middle realm, and there's an upper realm. The upper realm allows you to go all the way up to this 13th dimension from 5D to 13. The middle realm is where we are right now. We're working from 3 to 5D, and this is the lower 3. The lower 3D are the ones that are working in what we've called the disintegration, the destruction, and entropy. Those are the ones that are working from hate, envy, jealousy. They're refusing of those 7 sins, if you will. We call them sins. They're just lessons that the soul must learn to reach into a new level of dimension. And these are universal truths. This is how the soul progresses, and every soul has its own offer to redeem what was been done on the lower realms. How are you as a person? Divine feminine, divine masculine. Every human is divine feminine, divine masculine, and it's up to you to redeem your soul on the lower vibrations of what you've been working through in your lifetime. Now, what we want to clarify today, because all religions across our planet will be opening to self to awaken and to transcend the lower vibrational beliefs that is religious of what incarnation is. Because this is the last earth that will ever be 3D. There will never be another 3D earth. This is it. So there won't be another chance for people to reincarnate when they've maintained themselves and they refuse to come out of the entropy, the lower 3D earth. They're refusing themselves to change. They're refusing to make right. They're refusing to bring truth. They're refusing to clear the deeds and to clear their karma. Therefore, they cannot reincarnate. They will not reincarnate into a higher earth. They did not earn the consciousness. And this download is right from Source Creator. You have to understand the soul's progression. And there are a lot of religions on our earth. There's a lot of church and state on our earth that think that a lot of the official leaders and a lot of the ones that have been doing a lot of the damage on our earth to keep humanity suppressed, because many of these, as Source told me, the ones that were trying to silence me through YouTube, pay YouTube to silence me, direct hits on my chakras, many organized elites on this version of earth, they're still working in entropy because they interfere with other people's lives in a negative way. They interfere with people's lives through dark occult abuse. They interfere with people's lives through sabotage and subjugation, systematic abuse. All of those are entropy practices. So they will never, ever go into a higher 4-5D earth. They just won't. They have to clear what is here, truth, and making it right, because that's how you clear up the density in your soul. If you don't clear up the density in your soul in another lifetime. You haven't earned it. The consciousness of your soul. The body will just move off into its death state, and the spirit and the soul will remain in the darker realms. And that is direct source channel to me. Because I was asking, what happens to all of these family lineages that I have in the reptilian, if you will, and all of these family members, because they thought these reptilian families, because it's been eons of this type of galactic war, they believe that they own anybody in their family that has a light in them, that has access to ideas and source in them, because they've worked through it through different timelines. So these reptilian families believe, because that's just the part of their brain they're working on, and they've never chosen to evolve in Christ consciousness multidimensionality. They've chosen to stay in the reptilian brain aspect of who they are, and they rotate on the same brain patterns. So they've never chosen to advance themselves in capacity and aptitude. They've never chosen to expand themselves by healing and expanding into light. So they rotate on the same circular patterns, and that's the reptilian brain. And that's why you see a lot of the leaders stay and remain in the reptilian brain. It's about resources. They pattern on resources. They pattern on ownership. They pattern on lack mentality. They pattern on control and domination. And so many of my old family lineages from the galaxy and reptilians, they were thinking that they owned me because they knew that I advanced through the many different timelines in Christ consciousness. I have many aspects where I'm a Christ consciousness teacher. That's where God is moving me into higher evolution. I'm going to be a master teacher in the Christ consciousness light evolution because I've earned it through many, many timelines. But the reptilians, because they're old families and old lineages and it's just playing the same patterns and the same belief patterns, they chose not to advance their beliefs, perspectives, and honoring of who they were as a part of the whole. They wanted to own me and everything that I was. That's why there will be the court cases and criminal court cases of the organized elites and organized governments that were trying to suppress who I was so that I would never receive my ancestral inheritance. I would never receive any inheritance that I was done by because they wanted to keep me suppressed so I'm in the lower entropy. But I'm already up here. So we're not even on the same timeline. We're not even on the same earth. You might see them in court, but it's going to be a moment or time, and then you're going to shift into a different reality because your vibration is just going back to see in the window of that many mansions, if you will. That's called multidimensionality. And the higher in consciousness you are, you can move to whatever earth you want, but it's going to be detrimental for you to stay here. You're only visiting these experiences, and there might be even different universes that this earth is on. And they're slowly going to be shifted out because even though we'll just say each of these is a multiverse of earths, this lower universe of earths can no longer touch this earth because the energies, the quantum vibrational energies, are just too different. The median in this one is too different for this one. It would be too much damage for this one to go back to this one. So this is where there will be an infinite shift off, as God told me this morning. These people will never ever be able to touch my soul. And because there was so much damages done to me, they were given 3 years of redemption. They were given 3 years to bring retribution. They were given 3 years to make right and truth, and they didn't. They're still attacking me to this day. There are some in the group of the 50 that are bringing their voices forward, and there are some in the 50 that are whistleblowers because some of the abuses that were done are right up through government and military. Some of them were military, some of them were police officers, some of them worked in banks, some of them worked in legal. There are many people in the system, and this is where the corrupt officials. This video should be shared all over the planet because these are universal truths. It doesn't matter what your small beliefs are in your religion or your church and state. What anybody thinks about reincarnation, if you're living in lower entropy and all you do on earth is corruption and all you do is screw with people's lives and all you do is interfere with people's lives, you will never ever go through ascension. You will never ever reincarnate. You just won't. You did not earn the consciousness to go into a higher vibrational earth. Because this earth is 4D, moving into 5D, this is 5D earth. You have to earn the consciousness of this earth. And if you leave this earth from a lower vibrational entity, because all you've done is destroy people's lives and interfere with people's lives and dark magic them and voodoo them and pin them with voodoo dolls, you cannot count the crimes that were peering into my Akash, trying to rip into my Akash, all the things that were done on this earth. None of these people, none of them will ever touch me spiritually or in this. They're being taken out because there was so much abuse, and the hand of God is actually dealing with this God himself, the Father. The Father is dealing with this. That was a channel I had this morning. I said, well, what happens with these old family members that still believe in because their minds are degrading because they've done so much black magic, they've done so much demon entity, they've done so much conjuring that it's affecting their matter body because everybody's in a vessel. Your spirit and soul holds the vessel. Your spirit and soul hold the body. But if your spirit and soul are so damaged, abused, and you're not cleansing your vessel and you're not working with your vessel with light and you're not having light wisdom, this vessel will only remain in darkness and lower entropy. That's what everybody on the earth needs to understand. It doesn't matter about your religious beliefs. If you're screwing people over, you will never reincarnate to a higher earth. You just won't. Every body has to redeem itself. Every body has to say, what did my earthly lifetime consist of, and have I made it right? Have I forgiven myself? Have I moved myself through the various earths? So these people that have been continually abusing me, and I was brought into the family that I was brought into because I was the chosen one. I was the only one that had the expertise to flow in and out of the demonic energies that these people were sitting in. I was sent there as a light for these people. It was their last chance to awaken, to move into ascension of earth through the reptilian timelines and the reptilian bloodlines that these people had. It was their last timeline to create a Christ consciousness so that they could ascend species and their lineage. But these reptilians have chosen through their dark practice and through their earth timelines and what they've done on earth, they have chosen to no longer progress their species, which has left many reptilians that had done the work, many reptilians that did have great potential. Many of these reptilians are very disappointed because a lot of the reptilian lineages and species now have been taken out of the light program. The ones that have earned their way there can stay there, but it's up to Father, and they said they're not ready to disclose those info. So that's that part of that, because I'm a part of the light program evolution for the multiverse. So Father, there's a lot of discussions going on right now in the spiritual realms about where the reptilians that did do work and how they may or may not be reintroduced into the light programs. But the 3D Earth moving into 4-5D, there is no more species that will be incarnating because they haven't done the work. Their souls have not been redeemed by them. And so because some of them were my old family, so I said, well, if it's my soul not affecting my soul, there is a very complex situation. I'm not going to go into one of the stories because it's not inclusive to everybody on earth. But those that were brought as light workers in very toxic families where you were the light and that you were meant to awaken these people for their last chance, if you will, to move into ascension, into our consciousness, Christ consciousness, to move into an eternal life program. The eternal life is what we call reincarnation. Eternal life, which means you're moving into 5D. Once you get into 5D, ageless, and you can maintain your 5D life body as long as you want. So you can be there 500 if you want. But again, it's going to be not linear, so time is not going to matter to us. It's just cycles of life, if you will, right? The spiral of life. So this is what 5D Earth will be. This is 3-4D that's working on 5D. These are the ones that are ascending, that are choosing to work on a path of ascension. They're choosing to maintain the core vibration of whatever the Earth is, because everybody's on a different Earth. Whatever that core vibration median is on this Earth. This Earth, these people on this lower entropy, the ones that are continually screwing with people, interfering, and dark occultism and dark voodooism and trying to take people out, and dark military and dark government, and all the people that interfere and thinking they're going to get another reincarnation in another Earth, they just won't. They have absolutely chosen to stop their lineage and their species. That is how serious it is. Because this is the last 3D Earth. And if you don't learn it now and transmute and redeem your soul, you will not come back into a higher vibrational Earth. You did not earn it. You did not earn the consciousness. When a body comes in a higher consciousness Earth, you have to pick up the consciousness where you left off. This is the spiral. Now, when you do soul fragment healing, you're taking on that, you're healing it. That's when we talked about in my last video. If I'm opening up this one right here and I'm healing this soul fragment, I get the gifts and the skills learned on this vibrational timeline. I get that. It's now open to me through my DNA. The godliness of me has opened that fragment of its gifts, skills, and talents. This is what sits in the DNA codon. So that's now active to me. Now I'm more whole in my light. My body is more whole. My earth is more whole. And I've just shifted a timeline because this earth is not, say, the lower dimensional one that was way out here, a darker earth, right? So it's all about your timelines and what you're integrating. You want to be a fully integrated soul being. The godly fragments coming back to the God. Source returning to source. You want this piece of source to come back into source. So fragments of source. It's a trickle-down effect. The highest version of you is trickling down to the lower version of you. We have to evolve. Where are your beliefs? Where are your perspectives at? Are you manifesting? Are you alchemizing? So if you're fully alchemized, you're in the godliness. You have to alchemize all of these soul fragments, and that's 51% of your karma. These beings that are sitting here screwing with people's lives every day and doing voodoo because they're sitting in envy, jealousy, and greed and selfishness, and they're playing power over others and dominance over others, and they want to break their soul, and they want to break them, and they want to systematic abuse, some of the systematic abuse in the warped Mason society, they break them physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. That is the intention, and they're very systematic about it. They're very precise about it. They have those that work on mind control, those that work on mental manipulation, those that work on mental projection, those that work on voodoo, those that work tunneling into their dream time and raping them. They do many, many things in these warped societies. They will never, ever reincarnate, and they will remain in the lower realms. And that was a direct download from Source. So our planet has to be aware to what really soul progression is, what soul evolution is, how your soul evolves, and what is the importance of it to you. You can, which the reptilians have done, many of the reptilian lineages will no longer reincarnate to high additional Urs. There will be some, because some reptilians have evolved. And so that's what I was talking. Spirit said, well, they're not ready to disclose that information because there's still a lot that God, the Father, and the Mother have to learn and understand and move into all of these different souls on how many of the reptilian classification did move through Ascension and how many of them are going to continue to reproduce their species of the reptilian into Christ consciousness. That's where back in the background, if you will, of the galaxy, as we talked last time about the Draconian Wars, they were out of the light evolutionary plan for a while, but now the Draconians are coming in because they have done the ascension work and they've done their alchemizing. So now they do get to reincarnate. They do get to have new bodies that are moving into higher species. The Draconians chosen as a collective to improve their species. They've chosen to ascend and awaken so that they transmute the deeds that were done on all of those timelines where they were creating wars and they were creating, destruction and domination. Destruction and domination is not an ascension experience. It's lack, fear, and domination over others. And you even see some of the world leaders that behave in this way. How the leaders behave in this way are very low vibrational. They will not move forward in ascension. Governments that are controlling and targeting humans, governments and military and Area 51, any inhumane human program that I was placed within that are watched, stalked, and spied, none of these beings will move into a reincarnate Earth. They simply won't. You won't reincarnate. This is the last 3D timeline. You didn't earn the consciousness to move into a 5D Earth. So we have to move ourselves away from the religious beliefs and the beliefs in your families and the beliefs in your low vibrational groups and cults and covens and all of these little groups that have misguidances and misbeliefs. They've completely lost touch with universal laws. They have no idea about spiritual order. They have no idea about higher order, because there is soul's evolution, higher order laws. There is spiritual laws of the universe that honor the soul's progression. Spirit, source, creator, and God would never allow someone that has done nothing but abuse life, nothing that's done about trafficking humans, having sex with children, incest, and all of these happen in the lower debaucherous cults and covens and taking humans out and hate programs and all the people you've seen that have been suppressing my life, my programs being suppressed, my platforms being suppressed, people stopping my money left, right, and center. All the things that have been done on every fucking life and everybody involved. Spirit would never, ever allow this soul to jump into a higher evolved experience their next lifetime. They just wouldn't. Their soul has not learned the lesson on why their soul had to sit down and why did I do what I do? Where were my beliefs at? Why did I have perspective that someone was better than me? Why did I have the perspective that I'm not source? Where did I have the perspective that I couldn't evolve? Where did I have the perspective of hate? You're not going to move from a hateful position into a higher position, nor will you ever get the gifts of this person that lives in unconditional love, that lives in unconditional healing. They gave everybody 3 years to make right. There's no way anybody would receive this person's gifts. They just wouldn't. This person has darkness. They couldn't even carry one of these gifts. So everything these cults and covens and warlocks and lower vibrational cultist beliefs and satanic rituals and satanic beliefs about taking people's souls and taking people's this and taking people's that, they will remain in entropy in the lower realms, or the proverbial hell. They could never move into any higher experience. They have chosen, and that's their free will. They refuse to come out of hate. They refuse to come out of interference. They refuse to come out of destroying people's lives. They refuse to come out of greed. They refuse to come out of envy. They refuse to come out of all these lower vibrational beliefs. They could never move into these experiences. They could not. You have to earn the median vibration of whatever earth you're going to incarnate into. And all of the religious beliefs on our planet, church and state, they have their own separate beliefs about incarnation. They said, oh, next lifetime I'll go and clean it up. You don't. It's not going to be another 3D earth. You're here in low 3D. It's a low vibrational 3D earth. You're not even in the 4 5D. In this 3D earth, that's the lower entropy practices, dominating others, fear and domination, fear practices, voodoo, black magic, conjuring, all of the things that we've been talking about, jar work, freezer work, all of this is lower entropy practices. You have not earned anything to get into even the middle realm. You just haven't. And so all the church and religious beliefs on our planet, they think you just get infinite chances to reincarnate. You don't. And that's right from source. That's a download right from source. You cannot move into any higher consciousness earth if this is all you do. Doesn't matter what spell you bring out, doesn't matter what darker demon you think you're going to get. Even if it's a demon on this one and they conjure demons here in their graveyard rituals and they're dancing to the devil in rituals, they're dancing to Satan rituals, think they're going to pull on this person here, they cannot. It's a different earth, it's a different vibration. And when it comes to me, there is my energy, there's a seal around my spirit, there's a seal around my soul, and God himself, the other, has put a seal around my entire timelines, put a timeline around my Akash, there's a seal around everything that is me. And none of these beings or entities would ever come and touch me. Because I'm also a leader on all realms. They think they're conjuring a demon to come and get me and steal my soul and steal my gifts and destiny swap and all the things that they're paying people. Millions have been spent to come and take what I am. And these people are just absolutely, there is zero intelligence. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know higher spiritual order. They don't know higher spiritual context. They don't know higher spiritual justice. They don't know about anything. And they're running in a lower vibrational circle, and they have chosen to absolutely stop their species. That's what they have done. That's how serious what these people have done. They have actually just said no to the entire species law of reincarnation. So everybody on the planet that is in a secret cult, coven, or society really must absolutely sit and think about practices that you practice. If you practice low vibrational, satanic rituals, if you practice conjuring of devils, if you do jar work and blood work and root work and binding work, those are entropy practices, and you will never reincarnate to any earth but lower hell realms. And Spirit showed me that it is a dark energy that they sit within. There is no earth, there is no realm, there is no like planet. It's just a low darkness. And that's where they will stay. They chose that binding. Whatever one chooses to do to another person, it's what they end up in. And those are the exact words from source. And they were given 3 years to stop. God is so very graceful, the love that God had for all. God sees the potential in every person to come out of it even at the last second and redeem their soul. You must come forward with truth and liberation done and why you did it, and you have to clear and you have to redeem your own soul's deeds. These people that are practicing incest, these people that are practicing harems of different women and harems of their trafficking and harems of their sexual black web stuff and their sexual debauchery and their sex with and killing animals and doing things to children, all of these beings, they will be moved off and they will not even be allowed to be seen by me. They're just in a totally different realm. They're in a totally different planet. They're in a totally different. And eventually this planet will disintegrate because there's so much darkness, there's no entropy. You have to have light for life. Light is life. So if these darker planets do not have light, that's why they're being moved off. And so they show me that even if this is an understanding of a universe, because I'm from the multiverse, this lower dark earth was from a different universe. It was from a lower universe. So this lower universe is going to be moved on. And then the higher light universes continue to evolve. And then all the species in the light program come and they mingle and they begin that quantum experience. So again, your core vibration cannot meet this core vibration, so it will slowly move itself off. And God, the hand of God, which they showed me this morning, please release all of the nefarious energies on the chat room, Spirit, and send them away, please. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I have my right to speak about who I am and what I know. Thank you. This is a free will chat line. Those that don't agree can move off my channel, please. These are higher universal truths and laws, and if you don't like it, get off. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The ones that do want to progress, the ones that do want to ascend, the ones that want to advance and expand their beliefs beyond church and state, that do want to ascend, those that do want to love themselves and have themselves expand through creation and give their wholeness light, then you're absolutely, thank you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Let's move on. So this is going to absolutely move off, and the planet itself will disintegrate because there is no light on it to survive. If there's no light, it will not survive. And as I've said many times, on all the official leaders and all the official leaders that are trying to silence me and all the don't want light wisdom on the planet and the elite church and state that have been paying YouTube to silence, suppress me and keep my money from me and make me die, these idiots, all of these people that have been doing so, What wisdom is it? What intelligence is it? Only light that's on the planet to give all eternal life, energy, and lifedom. What intelligence is it when you try and kill that person? You're basically taking the only light that is on that planet and you're taking that away. That planet will be less the divine feminine light, will be less divine feminine abundance, will be less the divine feminine garden. And if there is no light, the planet will not grow. And that's why Earth was in such a red flag state for the last 20 years. Really longer than that. It was actually since the 80s, early 80s. And it was started back in the 1950s because the divine masculine collective they were running the world through fear and dominance because they were wounded. Divine masculine timelines have not been healed, and the divine feminine were not stepping up to speak on their behalf. There is no divine feminine voice on the collective, and the divine feminine is the birthing of life. So if you suppress and repress and take out the divine feminine, what does that leave, intelligent leaders? It leaves you in an entropy earth. You've created your own demise, which we've been saying for 17 years. If there is no light on the planet will not survive. It will disintegrate and it will be moved off. That's why all of those in church and state and military that have been attacking light workers, what sense does that make? Oh, intelligent ones with badges. What does it make if you take off the only light that is here to bring that planet through a next evolutionary process? What sense does it make to silence the only ones that are here to bring the highest wisdoms that are not church and state? Church and state absolutely can evolve, but we have to gather through light. And God gave everybody 3 years to bring in the light workers and work with the light workers to evolve church and state. Church and state have said, no, we're going to keep attacking you. We're going to keep trying to silence you. Okay, so then you're going to be on an earth that's going to move off. I've called it Epstein Earth, where debauchery and human agendas of targeting and hacking and low vibrational warping of justice and warping of evidence and tampering with evidence and making false claims and fabricating documents and fabricating false claims and payments to the low vibrational city, secret societies and secret cults and secret masons and all the things that are done to manipulate, all the things that are done to corrupt, all the things that are done to interfere, all the things that are done to silence, all the things that are done to suppress. Those are entropy practices. And you come back in a reincarnational body. You're not going to get another earth lifetime. You're not going to get another chance to make it right. You're not going to get another chance to be a domination power because you think that your power to control somebody and to break somebody physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, because all of your deeds have not earned you a place in the higher consciousness. The only way to get to higher consciousness is to heal and transmute your deeds, to redeem your own soul, to redeem it through truth and vibration, to redeem it through self-love, to redeem it through self-care and the ascension practice that I teach. That is the truth about incarnation. Incarnation, yes, if you have the core vibration and the consciousness from all the other lifetimes you've learned, and you've healed the timelines that you've learned, you've healed the timelines that you've gone through, that's that 51% of karma, you've healed all these soul fragments, you've healed all these soul magnets, the source of you returning to source, the darker realms of you returning to the lighter realms of you, because you're choosing to love that aspect of you and bring back in for healing. These lower entropies and the practices that you do every day is not self-love and self-care, and you're not healing the lower fragments because you're refusing to look at your wounds, refusing to look at what you've done, you're refusing to look at the deeds you did, you're refusing because all you're doing is manipulating paperwork, manipulating evidence, throwing more people and paying more people to take people out and paying more people to corrupt evidence, you're paying more people and judges to look the other way and die on basic abuse and basic human rights and all of these things that have been the fabric of our humanity to move humanity in higher vibrational safety and higher vibrational learning and evolution. So there's lots of corrupt officials that will absolutely be choosing for themselves. You're either going to choose to evolve and redeem yourself by doing right and bringing truth, or you will choose to no longer carry your species on. It is that simple. It is that simple. So sometimes we must see illustrations to see this is all the soul fragments of me. At any given moment, I'm on a different earth based on my core vibration. I can move into the ascension of earth by choosing to get in my center, heal my wounds, whatever my deeds are in the dark parts, I can actually recenter and self-love, and I'm going to make it right, and I'm going to start evolving rather than just on the dark entropy cycles and practices. And the cults and covens, there is a last, well, from what God said, those that have been involved in my case, if you're not coming forward to bring truth, there is no 6-month window anymore because the people have chosen to still attack, the people have chosen to still do death threats and death plots. There is no more consideration. Those that have chosen, before I did that video, I think a month ago or 2 months ago, those that have chosen to come forward to bring and make right and bring their truth of their story, I don't want to hear it. You don't come to me for your confession. You don't come to me to try and make friends with me and we're pals again because you want to get in my light because you're an angel and I'll protect you. I won't. Everybody has to go to the authorities, and you have to bring your truth to the authorities because they're obviously criminal court cases, premeditated murder, and done on various occasions and decades, fabricating birth information, fabricating documents, fabricating false claims. They're all illegal acts. It's against human rights law. It's criminal abuse laws, and I will be suing everybody involved right up to the top. People that are paying YouTube, I'm going to sue all of those people, every group that they're attached to, every church that they're attached to. I will be suing everybody in a criminal court case. And again, all of these people, this shows you where the intelligence is. Even though these people know that there will be criminal court cases, what they're doing is they're just still cycling in the dark entropy practices because they're trying to cover evidence, they're trying to change evidence, they're trying to bring on false claims, they're doing everything they can to take me out because they know who I am. Because they don't want to be accountable for their deeds. They absolutely know that there is evidence on pilfering and what's been done to my YouTube account. I show every week that I upload. There's pilfering going on my webpage, and they told me it's absolutely source download that I channeled the other day. It's on my YouTube platform post page. There is AI involved in this. They made fake AI pages so that when the pilfering goes to a fake AI page, and the people on the fake AI page, they're lower vibrational, they're false beings that get paid, and there's many pages that they do this to, but they fake pages about universal prophets, and these people are fake. They're energy harvesters. So these people have been taking my video streaming, they've been taking it, so they silence the true prophet and they erase the true prophet and they try and make the true prophet not seen by having groups and groups of people put magic over me and glamour spells and all of these spell work over me for decades, while the false prophets make all the money off of my content, my ideas, and my work. So that's what they call it, the virus takeover. These false demonic beings, these false people, these false reptilians, these false beings, whatever group and practice they are, it is all about greed. It is all about harvesting. It is all about taking ideas and the energy and the work and the content, whether it's the music industry, whether it's the entertainment industry. They're swapping souls. They want the soul's destiny. But it gets to a point where I've done so much work, they can't even touch me anymore. And there is a seal around my soul. There is a seal around my spirit. Nobody in this frequency will ever touch me ever again. God has said the abuse has been so horrible. The abuse has been so much. It will be astonishing to see. And when it all comes out, everybody around the world will know. Because this will be a global case. Everybody around the world will know how astonishing it was on every person and 50 plus that were involved, what all of these people did on a global organized basis to take out. It will be astonishing. But God has said enough is enough. God has placed a protective seal around me. Nobody will ever touch me ever again. I have my rights to be exactly who I am. I will move forward. Nobody will touch my spirit or soul. Whatever they think they're doing in dream time, whatever they think they're doing in their astral and ethereal time, they will never come out of their hell. Because the realms are just too different. There are legions of beings that are protecting me and they're watching everything that these people do. These people have chosen through their souls choices, through their demonic practices, through their warped practices, through their voodoo practices, through their black magic practices, because many of them, as I said, magic and their conjuring has given them, they've chosen to degrade their body, to degrade their brain, and they will remain in the lower entropy and they will never ever incarnate again on a 3D earth because there will be no 3D earth. It will be 5D. So they've chosen to take right out. And so my question this morning to Source was, well, what happens with all the other reptilians that did do the work and are moving on, but Source says they're not ready to talk about it right now because there's so much happening in the light programs across the multiverse where a lot of different species are into the Christ consciousness now because behind the scenes they have done a lot of work to help humanity evolve. Again, your soul's progression is how much have you done to evolve into higher love and light and unity? That's what soul's progression is. You are a soul with many soul aspects. If you're not doing anything to unify all of you, your wounds, your fragments, the soul memories, and all of those things that we talked about the soul memory. Soul memory is not held of the brain. It's held in your consciousness. Your consciousness is the all of you, the soul of you, the all of you. That's where your memory is actually held. Your memory is not held in the brain. Your brain is just a tool to pull that memory in. The memory is held in your soul. Soul memory, like the purging I had the other day, was from this soul fragment way back here. It was an aspect of me in my childhood. I pulled this soul fragment in and I loved it and I made it whole. It wasn't held in my brain. The brain was just a tool. The brain just has the tool. The brain has the tool to pull that fragment in to be healed. Source returning to source. I am source, returning that fragment of me back to source. Every human is the same. Every human is source. Just as we talked about the LGBTQT+. That trans particle is there to illuminate to others around that person that, no, I'm going to express myself. I have a male body, but I'm going to express myself in my divine feminine energy, because that's the energy that that soul needs to assist others that it is moving around. That's the contract it has with all these other people around them that are in the dark, because these other people are in of their sexual energies and their sexual wounding. So this person has taken on its cycle of ascension to say, no, I'm going to express this energy because these people need it and it's who I need to be right now. And in the spiral of that being soul's evolution of that soul, that's where that being's energy needs to express itself. In its next cycle, perhaps it wants to be more divine masculine. And as we said earlier, this is where we become the God source of we just become androgynous, because we can move back and forth to feminine and masculine energies. This being is taken on a very powerful soul contract. And what we said that I didn't say in my last video, the trans have taken on very powerful soul contracts to come in a family of darkness. And this one being is a trans, but they're illuminating by being a male body, but by illuminating the divine feminine energy that it can be in and still touch all of these darker lives around them, to give them an opportunity. Well, where am I suppressing? Where am I discriminating? Where am I holding back? Where am I subjugating? Where are my judgments? Where this being, because there is such a low consciousness on our planet about trans, the trans people don't understand sometimes the role they're playing in their entire soul's contract to assist and illuminate those that they came in contract with. And even this person, some of the beings that are in this person's family have come in as beings that have become very sexually confused, and some of this being's families are living in the closet. So this being's soul contract is very, very important to all others around it, to bring them out of their subjugation and suppressions. So the trans, we have to understand why people come in the bodies they come in, the stories and the evolution that you go through. And if this divine masculine wants to express itself in a feminine way, it's actually showing all others that, yes, I can be a divine feminine and I can still heal myself, because that's the divine feminine energy. Like I said in my last video, I took on a lot of divine masculine, dominant, and recessive traits because I needed it. And that feminine energy that I needed to heal myself. I wasn't going to be able to be here where I am in energy if I didn't allow myself to switch back and forth to heal myself. I needed to know how to learn how to love myself and heal myself out of all these dark, really horrible experiences. They were very valuable because now I can teach it at an expansive level. I wouldn't be able to teach what I teach now if I didn't have decades of this. I still call it bullshit. I haven't been able to make peace with it beyond that. Because it's, I'm looking forward to my soul's healing. I'm ready to get into express it, but it's been 54 years. 54 years of the government and other people's hands on my life, and that's where I still have resentment and I still have anger. There's still a lot of anger and resentment that I'm working through because there were 50 plus people involved, and I have to transmute. I have to transmute all of these lies that I never chose. These lies are not mine. The fabrication about my birth information, those were lies about my whole entire life. And there were groups of people that were running around me like this, constant, obsessive black magic voodoo for me never ever to reach a higher state of being, an expanded state of being. And nobody has a right. It goes against universal laws. And again, as we said, the universal soul blueprint of you always will supersede these little tiny dark ass earth, little cults and covens that want to rip your life apart because they want your money. They want your gifts. They want your spiritual power. They want this and they want that. And they were selling my name back and forth under the low vibrational, under black web. And they were selling my name and false marriages. Who's gonna bet on her now? Who's gonna say they're gonna have her gifts now? And all of these dark ass cults were making money off of selling it to different satanic groups and different satanic people that thought they were in the hell world and thought they were ranked to taking people's soul. They have no idea. They're so guided. So all of these people across the earth, please share my video. All of these people in Masonic groups that are practicing such type things of systematic abuse, anybody that is practicing what we've been talking about is voodoo, dark magic, jar work, root work, blood work, graveyard dancing and conjuring demons and entities to affect other people's lives so you think you have power. It is absolutely misguidance. Absolutely 100% you are calling an end to your species, and you are calling an end to ever coming back into an incarnation. So everybody better put that on Google, and they can, if they so choose, to put it on a piece of paper and work it out. This is your karma. This is what will happen. This is what is happening. And your soul in the darker realms, which we've called hell, if you will, because you will never manifest another body, because your body cannot manifest if it doesn't have light in it. Because remember, the body is carbon crystalline. For the light evolution of this universe, your bodies will continue to be, you continue to evolve, and if you continue to ascend, your body will continually get more and more crystalline. Because you're choosing to do ascension pathwork, you're choosing to heal. You're choosing to be your higher consciousness. You're choosing to be your evolved being. If you're not choosing to be crystalline, your body will not come into an Incarnation. And these are universal truths. And this is where church and state is not showing you, is not teaching you. Church and state has left everything about what soul evolution is. Nobody on the planet teaches soul evolution. I do. Nobody on the planet understands soul evolution to how I teach it. This was my gift, and this is what God has said. This is what Joanna will Celeste come forward and teach. She has been there enough. She is a multiverse being. She's an ambassador of light. She's an ambassador of moving through the infinite realms of darkness, light, shadow. So I know how to move through all realms. But because Earth is in a very special place right now, Earth is moving into 5D. There will not be any more the Earths. So all the people on planet Earth, 8 billion people, whatever your beliefs are about incarnation, you better sit down on a piece of paper and do the infinity, a negative on one side, a neutral in the middle. This is quantum law. This is universal quantum law. Negative, neutral, and positive. Whatever your deeds are in this life, of a wise person, I would do this today. What are your deeds in this lifetime? And you know, right, child, what are your deeds in this lifetime? I would sit down and I would start working them out. And I would start forgiving all the people that have done wrong and bad to you. And then I would start doing the path. If you're choosing to remain in this negative energy, you will never, ever incarnate into another body that is higher. You simply won't. And the current status on our planet right now through church and state, many of the government officials and many of the military and many of all these people that have been interfering with people's lives in an inhumane, abhorrent way, where they are targeting humans and they're paying secret societies to target humans and take them and erase their memory and fabricate information and fabricate false claims and fabricate criminal claims, fabricate power of attorney claims, fabricate insane claims, which is absolutely ridiculous, against all laws, and everybody will be sued. Everybody will be going to criminal court to sue everybody. If these people have been doing this, they will never ever come back to another earth of higher 4 or 5D consciousness. They simply won't. And they have chosen that. So whatever religious beliefs of church and state are about religion, it must be re-understood. Earth is going through a very special ascension. We've been going through it since 1987. We are moving from 3D, low vibrating 3D Earth, and there is a shift off between those that are continuing entropy practices. You cannot continue in ascension. You just won't. It will be shifted off. And there are some of us that do have seals around our entire soul and spirit where we will not be touched. Because I deserve my birthright. I don't deserve to sit in 50 years of karma, because these people are sitting in hate, because they were living off money and they were living off my energy. And now that God has cut that cord, they don't have my energy anymore. And as I said earlier, this will just go into disintegration, because nothing can live, nothing can survive off darkness. So that's why all the dark programs, all the dark earth, all the dark Epstein agendas, all the dark soul harvesting, all the dark elite programs, all the dark elite selling your soul, all that is done in the dark, everything in the dark will end up in disintegration. So everybody better sit at the table today and you look over what you've done in your lifetime and how to make it right and bring redemption to yourself. And bring redemption to the deeds that have been done to you, and deeds, just forget it is done. It's just the ascension practice that we talk about every day. Because what religious and dogmatic, old world, old boys school, old whatever it is that's old about religion. Because it's not advanced, it's not intelligent, it is not evolutionary light program approved. If you are not doing the work in love and self-love and unity consciousness is the core vibration of evolution. If you want to evolve your soul from here on this moment, practice unity consciousness. Everybody that you see, everybody on planet Earth is unity consciousness. What are you doing to love and care and be unified? Everything is a reflection. If you are doing these practices, you simply will not be ever. You cannot take gifts from here. You cannot swap destinies from here. You cannot do what some people are doing. And they are creating their demise into disintegration. Because nothing can survive if there is no light. It will die. And that's why Earth was in a red flag status. because the raping of resources, the fear and control over resources, the wanting to detour course, resources, take over soul harvesting, destiny swapping, parrying the peaches of cautious against the highest levels of spiritual laws. There are beings of consciousness throughout the 13th dimensions that watch every person that does those types of practices. People think they're the only people on earth, and they think that there's nothing higher than them. You have guides that are watching you up to the 13th dimensions to make sure certain laws are not broken and certain people are not touched. But these people just think they play God, and these people, because they don't believe in God, many of them don't believe in God. Many of them don't like women. Many of them are stuck in their misogyny. Many of them are stuck in, if they're divine feminine, are stuck in their jealousy and envy. And they don't, because it's never been seen before. Light women on a planet, light leaders on a planet, light aligned beings, light godly beings are not seen on our world. It has never been before. I'm one of the first divine feminine Messiah leaders. So this aspect of me is highly, highly protected. But these people in these groups that practice such human interference and human degradation and human destruction, and taking infinite plots on out and taking infinite plots to take me out and kill me and disrupt me and take my chakras away and block my chakras, so they're never seen for the deeds that they do. They have done nothing to redeem their soul. They will not reincarnate. Chosen that for their species. That is what they've done, because everyone was 3 years. So if you belong to a group that practices these things, if you belong to a group that practices soul interference, if you belong to any groups that practice jar work, freezer work, sex work, love spells, all of those things, you don't need to do spell work, but healing yourself, you don't need to do spell work. To evolve, taking people's lives and sacrificing is premeditated murder. It is an entropy practice. And there's billions on our planet that practice sacrificing. There are billions. It's an organized global experience. Interpol and all of the higher vibrational investigative units. I would love to put together higher vibrational dimensional classes to assist in understanding entity attachment, to understand the psyche experience, how the psyche evolves, and understand the different versions of Earth, the timelines. That's why some of the readers, if you go to some of the aligned readers, they will say it means the mother or different energies, and you know who that person is, but it's a different energy in this timeline, because back in this timeline, this person played a spouse. But in this timeline over here, maybe they played your mother. It's just the same soul. They're just packaging different bodies. So this is why they say your mother or your brother, your spouse, because I know what's come, because I can see into the many mansions. I can see into the windows of the many mansions. So sometimes this version of the soul has played a different person in this timeline. Because what we're doing is this 3D Earth, if you will, if we're doing it on a collective basis. The collective humanity is moving from 3, 4, 5D. So that's why me and 5D, many of these timelines are being closed up and culminated together. The people that I know that have done the work, some of them may come with me, most of them will not. Because most of the people that I was brought into this with, I was born with, many of them were the families that chose entropy practices. The very corrupt people that have been abusing me from my birth. They don't think that I deserve anything. They don't think that I deserve to be in my light alignment. But who the hell are they? Right? That's just right, because they're in self-hate. They're in no sense of self. Which again, it's just another fragment and a fractal for me to look at to say, yes, I send you love, but no, I'm going to be exactly who the fuck I want to be. You don't have any say on my fucking life or my soul. So this is where, and again, I'm working on letting go and absolutely being at peace, because I'm still very angry. I'm still very, I carry a lot of frustration, because 100% unnecessary. These people were given 3 years to learn how to heal. I spoon-fed them how to heal. I have thousands of emails I sent the people of this. I have thousands of emails I sent my ex that said, what you're doing is going to cause your demise. What you're doing is going to cause disintegration. You're causing harm, damage to everybody and your own brain, what you're doing. And they refused. They refused to take the spoon feeding. Because I was sent there to wake these people up to change. It was their last chance to move into Christ consciousness and evolve their species. So these species have chosen that they will not come back. And they showed me this morning, some of the higher reptilians very disappointed because they can't carry on their species. But did say they're still in the talks of how the higher reptilians will be brought back into the light evolutionary programs. But as for the ones that I was dealing with that doing the 50 plus, constant daily attacks, constant suppression, as we see, to my channel is still the same. There's been nothing changed on my channel. YouTube is being investigated. All of the beings that have still doing their daily plots to try and take me out and try and come and get me and Whatever their plots and plans are will be always met with demise, because there's legions, ancestors through the word of God now has given them authority to immediately send their magic and their voodoo back. Again, I have a seal around me, so nobody is touching me, regardless of what they think they're doing, they're not. Whether it be church and state, those that are paying YouTube to silence me, those that are paying, the Spirit said there was 3 groups of elites and church and state that were paying YouTube to silence me and block me from being seen in the world. There was a plan that Spirit said as the Spirit download that had everything to do with AI. So they were making fake AI pages where these fake viruses and fake prophets and false prophets were using my images and stuff, and the images were used in the black web to sell my gifts and to sell my name and to sell my energy for the satanic rituals. And so everybody, again, across the whole world, it's up to free will. Anybody can believe whatever they want to believe. I'm just stating the universal truth, the higher justice, the higher spiritual laws, the legions and the masters and the karma board and God. God knows exactly where every soul is at, what every soul is doing to make their deeds right. God knows every single action, every single word, every single intent. God would never allow somebody that's been living in this energy to ever progress. You can never sneak anything by Spirit. You're either the core vibration of love and unity conscious, or you're not. So what I'm moving through right now is just the transmuting of the 50 years that I've been living in other people's lies and fabrications, so that they can keep my heritage, my inheritances away from me. But my ancestors have been fighting this spiritual war in the background that goes on in dream time and all the astral realms and all the things that they have done. They've done so many horrible things. But my ancestors and God gave a shut off, and I am moving forward because I'm helping carry Earth into the 5D. My energy is very important to the multiverse. So all of these people are being separated off, but I still have to transmute the 50 years of lies that the church and state have been doing. That they're refusing to give me my birth records. They're refusing to come forward and be accountable for what they've done. They're refusing to be able and give me what I'm owed, and therefore then they've chosen their own entropy. And it doesn't matter what your position is. If these people are position of top leadership, if they're position of top churches, if they're positions of military, it doesn't matter what these people are. They have chosen for their soul that they will not transmute and evolve. If you're going to not transmute and evolve, you will never end up here. You will never end up here, and you won't reincarnate. No matter what your religious beliefs are. Your religious beliefs are not equal to universal law, period. So when we say alignment, are you aligned? Are you aligned with your higher self? Higher self is universal laws, spiritual laws, higher order laws, because it covers vibrational dimensions. 3D church and state is not our universal order. So you have to know, what are you going to align with? 3D lower vibrational laws and order, which it isn't, it's chaos. Because if the people in the system are so corrupt, the judges and judicial and corrupt churches and corrupt this and corrupt that, if the churches are silencing certain people that have higher wisdom and higher knowing, how is that not corrupt? And these church, and they talk to their pulpit and they say how godly they are. How is that okay? And this is why God is bringing an end to it, because God sees all the people that have called themselves righteous and of God. They're absolutely not. They're not speaking of higher order. They have no idea they don't care what universal laws are, and they're just feeding whatever they can to everybody in their communities, thinking that they're higher order and that they're this and that. They're not. Whether it's a global leader, whether it's a church person, doesn't matter what it is. If you are in the community, are you evolving and aligning to higher universal laws? Yes or no? So that's where I said in my last video, it would be a good idea for people to come forward and begin to start aligning your business, start aligning your vocation into 5D universal laws. Right use of free will and non-interference is the #1 universal law. Don't interfere with anybody's life. Pay attention to who you are and what you are and how you're moving about life. Who are you? What do you exist within? And what's going on within you? And if you're doing this, you don't have any time, if you will, to focus on anybody else. And that is ascension. That's evolution. You're bringing all of these soul fragments from the lower, darker places, and you're bringing it into the center. That's what we talk about. If you're doing the lower vibrational practices, all the people that come on direct hate and all that come on to take out your life and throw magic at your programs, throw magic at your platforms, and throw magic at your children, throw magic at everything else, and make you get in a car crash and make you do jar work and make you do freezer work and put voodoo dolls and pins in them, all of the things that are done. It's returning back to them immediately, because the hand of God said no. So now there's all these people that the beautiful beings and the invisible are now sending all the energies back. It's going right back to the people that are sending it, and will be sitting in their demise. That is the word of God. They were given 6 months, so now the window has closed. God says enough is enough. There's no more plots or planning. Everybody right from the top of the 50 that were involved, they will be all shown, because this is going to be spread across the planet as to what has been done in the lower vibrational states of low consciousness. If you are not healing, and if you're not coming out of these low secret sect beliefs of dogma and church and state, if you're not coming out of those beliefs, that's what you choose. If you choose not to evolve and not to love yourself and not to heal, if that's what you choose, and all the abuses to children and the abuses in trafficking and the abuses in all of these ways that we abuse life force, if that is what you choose, and you choose to interfere with other people, you will not move into any other incarnation, and you have to know that. The religious church and state are not going to show you how to evolve your soul. And that's what I'm here to teach, and as well as all of the other channelers. All of the other channelers that we talk about is ascension, preparing for first contact, where this earth is preparing to meet all of our universal families and our universal legacies, as we talked about in our last video. Because it's evolving to an open state planet. It's evolving into a new time-space energy, or the fluid cosmic energy, our galactic cosmic energy of who we truly are with our DNA. All of the DNA that we come with, right? All of the DNA that we come with is universal. So everything is now, so all this lower earth that's vibrating on the very lowest dark aspect, it's going to be moved away, and higher earths go up into a higher spiral of evolution. And the universe and the multiverse is fed back and forth light. It's source light, source omnipresence. But you have to allow the expansion to flow within that higher vibrational light. Every earth is on a different level. So these people on the lowest level of earth, the 3D entropy earth, they're going to be moved out, because they can't even maintain the base minimum to move forward. How do you maintain the bare minimum? How do you maintain the base minimum vibration of every earth? You have to do your daily ascension path work. You have to evolve your soul. You want to choose to evolve your soul with love. There is omnipresent God in all realms, but it will be a vibrating thing. And again, if this earth doesn't have any light on it, it's going to disintegrate. And that's just their choice. They chose darkness. They chose the darkness of their soul. And many of these people, because of the practices they've been doing in their sexual cults, they've chosen to disregard their spirit. They've chosen to disregard the light life force, the God life force. They've chosen to not love and care for themselves. So many of these bodies, and this is for those that are investigators, these are for those that are police and officials within the cities, and they've chosen to take a blind eye. They've done, those that are in official positions, they will be held equally accountable, source said, and they will be the ones that have been inciting warlike programs into their communities at the leadership level, in the military level, at the official level, like those that have official titles and the abuse of power titles. They will be given the harshest karma by God himself, capital H. Because these people know better. If you're inciting war into your collective, those are the people that should be on the watch list. But the people the people that do the watch list things, they're the ones that are absolutely doing they're the ones that know the dark agendas, and they're the ones that are actually inciting war. The things that were done to me were all the way up at various levels of the society. There was 50 people involved at different levels of society. So if there's 50 people taking money, the 50 people know the story. 50 people know that there was false claims, wrong eyes. I haven't been talked to by anybody. Nobody's verified my signature. Nobody's verified my story. There's been POAs on my death. There's been POAs on my level of sanity. There's process. I've signed nothing. Nobody's ever come to me. I've never taken a medical. I've never taken an assessment. I haven't been given a penny from everybody. Nobody's given me anything. My platforms have been shut down. I've been silent. It's like I don't exist. Well, here I am. I exist. You won't be able to touch me on your earth, but I exist. So God will be opening me up to the entire globe, because I am meant to pull my energies and my wisdoms from the multiverse and teach those that choose to move in a multiversic perspective and choose to be themselves as a multiversal God aspect. Those are those ones that want to ascend. Those are the ones that want to evolve. Those are the ones that want to be in their spirit. Those are the ones that want to activate their DNA. Those are the ones that want to be in a higher evolutionary experience. From here on out, it's evolving. Because why shouldn't we? We're infinite creative beings. So again, everybody on earth is being faced right now with, my story will only be one of many, because there's been so many victims and there's been so many people that have barely made it through getting away from these secret societies and these dark cults and warped Mason cults that interfere with people's lives, mafia, systematic abuse, criminal systematic abuse where they intend with precision and 24/7 obsessiveness to break your life, mental, physically, emotionally, sexually, and spiritually. It was around the clock precision to break me down, to never have me evolve so that these people could just eat and suck and harvest the life out of me and then take my money. It was an entire contract to absolutely take and swap and suck and harvest so that I would never come back, because it was done in other lifetimes. It was successful in other lifetimes. God said this lifetime, no. She's done the evolution. She's done the work. She will be the leader that I have written for her. This is my soul's blueprint. Again, remember, your soul's blueprint is all the way up to the 13th dimension with Source. So all the other aspects of me, the infinite aspects of me, the higher vibrational aspects of me that are in the 13th dimension here, they're saying, no, Joanna, you're coming up. So I've done the of all these dark aspects, of all these woundings of divine feminine masculine energies. So now I am moving up in my spiral of ascension, the Jacob's ladder. I've earned it. So there's no here in this lower frequency that does their dark practices and sends spiritual hitmen out, spiritual warlocks and voodooists and warlocks and witches from the back east and back in Africa doing witchery on me. They will all be blocked and it's sent back. And there has been, God wants me to say, there has been some of these people that have been called on in the 50. There has been some of these people that have been called on, those ones that are connected to their guides. Some of them some of them have not been connecting with their guides. They're just doing whatever they do. They have no knowledge about spiritual laws. They have no knowledge about magic. They have no knowledge about energy at all. And those are the ones that will be sitting in negative karma. There are people right now on the planet that are doing magic and they have no understanding about energy. They have no understanding about spiritual laws. They have no understanding about universal laws. They're just playing with magic. And that's fine for a little bit, but you have to know what you're doing, because if you continue the dark magic, you will go into entropy and you will not evolve. You just won't. So this is where we have to really understand everything is energy. There are universal laws, there are quantum laws, and it doesn't have anything to do with small little beliefs where people are just doing willy-nilly, here-y-there-y, because they're not connected with Source. They're not connected with their higher selves. They're not connected with their teams. They're not connected with their higher spiritual knowing. They're not connected with their higher spiritual blueprint. They don't understand anything. And that's fine, because it's a mature experience. It's an immature experience. We're moving through ascension, but there is a window closing. There's not going to be an infinite window for people to decide if they want to ascend. The windows are closing, especially for people in groups. There is no more consideration, and that's the word right from Source. There will be grave consequences in every day that someone chooses to attack an innocent person, falsify information, falsify evidence, fabricate evidence, continue to do spell work, continue to do attack work, continue to do death plots. There is grave consequences, and they won't return. And there will be those, as Source said, because I said, well, what happens to the people that have been here, and what earth will I experience and see them on? And Spirit says, I won't see them. There will be no contact ever. They will never have contact with my soul. So I said, good, God, because it's been suffocating. Nobody will ever have any, and this is why God said enough. God has just had enough. The legions and the ancestors have had enough. God's had enough. Everybody's had enough in the spiritual realm. It's delayed much. The holding back of my life, the fabricating of my life, the lies on my life, the 50 and plus people that have been involved have done so much on my life to have me never, ever get up. It's at an end state. It's done. It's over. I'm moving forward. I'm on a warp speed in a new projection, and God is handling every single person that even reaches out to touch me in any way of trying to hold me back. So anything that's done magic throwing at me, it's going back. And if every day it's going to be times 10, times 10, times 10, which will put you in entropy and then demise. Because God's had enough. The ancestors have had enough. I've deserved my right to come forward and take all my ancestors with me. That's why I've got legions of ancestors. Even from some of these people here, their ancestors are now working with me. Because they do want to evolve. They were trying everything in their power to get their people that are in human body to evolve. That's why we have ancestors. They help the ones in body to evolve so they can go on the journey of Christ consciousness through eternal life. That's why some of the species are very disappointed, because some of the species do want to go through Christ consciousness. So that's where in the background on the light evolutionary programs up to the highest dimensions, there is God and all of the angels and the light evolutionary programs through the Christ conscious, because I belong with the Christ conscious Lord Sananda. And the masters, that's the mastery program that I work with, is light consciousness and light evolution through the light evolutionary programs through the divine plan. And those that are in the divine plan, that are reptilian and all species, they're working their way to see what the species will look like down the road. For those that have chosen, a lot of the lineages here will be moving out. So, but that we're all in a process of understanding soul's evolution. This has not been talked about before. And so I'm really, really happy to bring this forward as part of my soul's excitement. But what I really want to bring forward today, because I'm so excited, is that we have to understand all the different earths that each of us experience. We really have to look at and put on the table every day. That's your ascension path work. What do I believe about church and state, and what can I let go of because it's holding me back? Because again, the church state ideologies is about reincarnation, is not what we've been taught or told. What memories are not what we've been taught or told. Your memories are actually the soul's psyche experience, and as I said, again, your brain is just the tool that pulls it from the consciousness so you can start working with it and integrating it back to the source of God, the godliness within. And then you become a fully integrated soul, and you become more light in the whole soul of you. That's when your soul gets to move up in a timeline. You get to move to a different vibrational earth. This is why doing your soul's path is so important, because you get to raise your vibrational median into the earth of that median. Our earth will be changing every day, and every earth is bathed with that quantumness of light. Remember? Every earth has a different vibrational quantum median that it's bathed with, the omnipresent. The omnipresent is God bathing every thread of dimension. This is the dimension up, right? The lowest vibrational earth to the highest vibrational earth. And you're moving constant and back and forth. There's never a straight up. You never go straight up in ascension. It's always a weaving back and forth, because you have to learn the lessons. You have to be that dodecahedron. You have to look at it from all perspectives. And so every vibrational thread, that's how I see it. I just see it as, and this is a top-down look of this. So this is a top-down of this. This is your soul. This is you and your body, you and God in the center. When you lay down at night, it's you and God, and all your soul fragments, the darkest to the lightest. The more higher you are in light, true God, Mother, Father, the Creator. The Creator is inside of you, inside your heart. So you're here to transmute all this. But as a side perspective, this is how you look as a vibrational experience. The lower fragments here that you're here to call in. So this is why everything runs on a cycle. There is no past. Your memories are sitting in a spiral now. And when they come up to be healed, this darker fragment here is coming up to show you. And then you say, well, I've got a higher light perspective now. I know how to heal this. I know how to alchemize this. So whether it's a discrimination, jealousy, envy, whether you are targeting somebody, whether you're interfering with somebody, you now higher knowing. You do want to reincarnate into a higher light body, so let's do the work. You have to earn that consciousness. You have to know that I can love myself, and Source will forgive me, and Source will help me make this right, and show me the way, and Source will guide me. Because there are some people that were in this group that are awakening at the last minute. But that's between that person and God, that soul's experience in God, to see how much of the other fragments were alchemized. Did they have enough alchemy in these lower fragments? Did they do enough work for the next level of Earth's ascension? And there will be some that just didn't do enough work, and they will make their way out. They'll manifest their way out. And because that's just between that person and God. Because only God, again, this is why your soul's blueprint is so important. And the deeds that you do every day is important. And this is why we have to get away from the matrix ideologies, church and state ideologies, because they are not evolutionary. They just aren't. The idea of incarnation is not evolutionary in anything that is church and state. You aren't given infinite ideologies to manifest a body in a next earth. You're just not. If you haven't earned it, this is what we're saying. Some of these people at the last second did wake up, and they are redeeming their soul. But it depends on these 51% of their darker aspects in this lifetime. Let's say they're middle-aged. It depends on all these other darker aspects. How have they got? And if they've got to say 45%, which I'm at 41%. So if they've got, say, at 35%, it's up to that soul and God to say, well, did you alchemize enough of the other 51% for you to have that progression in this earth? Because they may come back right away as a crystalline child to play a light. They may play a light for a darker family, if you will, but they are progressing. So again, it's so complex. This is what I love about Soul Blueprints, because it's right up my alley. I just love to look at things at the multidimensional perspective. I'm learning how to look at the windows of the universe. And I call it the many mansions. It's been talked about on my radio show. So you go back to, or in my earliest videos, we talk about the mansions and what Jesus meant by the many mansions. And Jesus showed me in that one video that I post all the time is the clouds, the different clouds. The different clouds are the different earths that, and the different mansions and the different houses of all of the different aspects of you in different vibrational perspectives. And this is why when Akash reader, like when I read the Akash, I read the stories of this lower vibrational Akash and where the woundings happened. And then I show you ways to heal that lower vibrational Akash of that timeline. Because remember, the memory is not held in your brain. It's not held in your body. It affects your body because it's that memory psyche experience. That psyche experience is still circling on your soul, right? It's still the spiral of your soul. So it's affecting your tissues. It's affecting your cells. It's affecting everything that you are. So if you're not healing this lower vibrational experience in your kosh, right? I show you in this now moment, this is how you can heal this experience. This experience is a psyche experience, and you're going to bring it into wholeness because you're giving love and acceptance and radical acceptance and acknowledgement, 3 A's. Right? And then you move into the 3 E's. You're evolving. Yeah, I get that. I can know how to do this. I know how to heal myself. I get this. I'm going to see myself in an infinite universe. When you get to this 5D, which is where I am, I'm at 41% of my alchemy. And so, and this is full 5D earth. At this point right now, I'm learning how to look at the different earths, and I'm learning to help people through their darkest shadows. I'm learning to help people, even there are some here from the 50 group. This is very important too, because I want to acknowledge their successes. There are some of these people here in the 50 that have chosen to say, I'm going to wake up, spirit, and I'm going to start evolving. I'm going to make it right. I'm going to whistle blow. I'm going to do everything that I can, evolving the darker aspects of me, because they get it. Otherwise, that's why people are sent to me in the very darkest state. That's why I walk with Anubis, because people come to me in their very darkest state, and I help activate the Christ consciousness within them. I help them activate, and I help them. It's a light code that I have, and I activate the light within their DNA, within their soul, to remember who they are as godly. Because they have forgotten, through their practices of lower vibrational beliefs of church and state, their lower vibrational beliefs of dark occult practices, they have forgotten that they are godly. There are many that have, the majority have chosen to evolve. The majority have chosen to not do the work. But I want to talk about the ones that are choosing to do the work, because I want to celebrate you. There are a few that have chosen to evolve. So it has been an activation. That's why they watch my videos. There have been a few of the 50 that have watched my videos, and there has been activations in their DNA. And it's between that soul and God. They're not showing me that window because I don't want to know. It's not up to me to know. I don't care. But there are a few that have chosen, because of my healing with them, because of their watching my videos, and because my intention is purely for them and their Christhood, that they can go through an evolutionary process. And even if they do move through death cycle, through my experience of how I see them move out as a death cycle, some of them can come back in a future incarnation, because they may have had enough for these transmutations for them to take on a 5D body, or they may go to another lower vibrational earth. I know there is one other planet in our galaxy that is kind of like in the Middle Ages, and they could incarnate into a body on that earth. I think it's a 3D earth. It's not an earth. It's not called Earth. It's a different planet, but they do have humanoid bodies and are in about a three-dimensional experience. It's a different experience, so it's not Earth. So that is a possibility, although it's up to God. I mean, I don't play that role because that's God, right? I'm just telling you that we want to make sure that the 50 that I'm just talking about in my life experience, it's very important to know, because my life experience in all of these cases and all of these dark, secret occult and secret societies and missions and all of these things that have been gathering because of the disconnection of spirit, because of the connection from the sense of self, because of the disconnection of who you are as source. That's why these cult covens have created themselves. And then it's gone into satanic rituals and global organized Epstein-like agendas to take out and soul harvest. And we want consequences. We want to understand that the lower vibrational beliefs of church and state and those types of experiences of separation and discrimination, they do have their consequences, and this is it. These are the consequences, and you have to understand. There have been a few, yes, we want to celebrate them, did choose at the last minute to whistle blow, to make things right, to clear their conscience, to clear their soul's records, and they have done the right thing. So it's up to that person and God and that soul and God and their lineage and their ancestors to go through how much alchemy has been done in the low regions of that 51% of the soul fragments. Because every day, what you do in Ascension every day, it's all about your 51% in the darker aspects. You're trying to bring those aspects into the wholeness of you, because you want to go up to the 13th dimension. That's your full unification with Source. But you do have 51% of the darker, that's your divine feminine masculine wounding that you're here to experience in the evolution of itself. And that's why we said earlier, this person here that came in a male body that is trans was helping people in its soul contract, the family members and the it was helping itself project its acceptance, its full radical acceptance of expressing a divine feminine energy to everybody in its contract that were very suppressed and subjugated. And some of these beings were actually they were refusing to see themselves and live in a liberated way that this being was. So we want to show you how valuable your soul's blueprint is to the all, to those who come with and in contract with, and how it is all about evolution. And you're an absolute 100% sovereignty and divine commandmentship of it. Your body is a creation of the commandmentship of the light that you allow to evolve through it, and your beliefs. Are you able to shift your beliefs and let go of the lower vibrational beliefs and practices? So there's nothing wrong with church and state. The church and state that's been here for 5,000 years and slowly changing through time, the children should not be learning what we've been learning back in our youngerhood. Shouldn't be. The children are so advanced now, they should be learning 5D light education. Everything is about the chakras, everything is about energy, everything is law. That's where the children should be starting. Light evolution and light education. We will not evolve as a people learning what old world is. We simply won't. That's not evolutionary. The governments and how they're run is not evolutionary. Church and state can come along, but they have to start infusing light wisdom and light intelligence. If the governments refuse to infuse light intelligence, then they have chosen their status of their soul, and they will not move forward. This is where our message has been for over 15 years. You have to choose your soul's evolution. And how important is your soul's evolution? Do you care about your species? Because you're choosing it in whatever task and agenda that you do. And again, you can't complain, because there's many people that are, because they're so wounded, and some of them have been mentally disturbed because of the dark conjuring. The entities and the demons that they've conjured are coming back to them. That's what Source has said to me. They have been bound to the binding that they tried to do to me, because I'm not accepting their bondage. I'm not accepting their spell work. I'm just sending it back. And so these people have been bound, and that's Source's authority. Source has given the chance for them to evolve. So Source has now give them the bondage that they tried to do from me for 50 years. They've tried to silence me and affect my chakras. They've silenced me. Of course, they refuse to give me the money that's mine. It's being willed, but all the courts are working it out now. The spiritual higher realms, the spiritual courts have spoken, and they've already produced a verdict, and I'll read that out in a different channel. I had this download about 2 months ago about that I was actually on court hearing in the spiritual courts, and they were giving the guilty verdict to all of these people. So it's now just rolling out in the physical. All of these people will be found guilty, and these people will be sentenced 15 years to life in criminal jail because of the inhumane abuse. Everything that was done to never have me get up. That is the intention of these systematic abusers. And they have everyone in every system, whether it's banking, judicial, lawyers that they pay, warped masons that go into the community, everyone they'll just pay people however they need them. In this case, there was so many people being paid out of my monies to keep me in poverty, keep me everything. They do everything. They phone your company. If you have a business and they're phoning your company, they'll send emails to your clients. They'll send defamation. It's a defamation glamour spell, and they do everything they can systematically to make you look as if you're insane, to make you look as if you're dead, to make you look whatever they need to make you look at to force their narrative. Systematic abuse. And they break you with intention, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. These are the systematic abuses. It's called slow dagger that many of the Eastern Stars and the warped masons use. And again, if that is your practice and that's what you do, and those are your experiences and sacrificing, you will never ever evolve, and you've called an ending and a disintegration to your species. That is the outcome. It can be no else. You will not be anywhere. You will never be ranked in a higher frequency. You will never have the spiritual gifts. You will never have the spiritual power. You will never have the spiritual knowledge. Somebody in experience could never, ever explain what I just explained. And I'm doing this right from my own spirit, soul knowing, because I'm already aligned with the information. I'm already aligned with the quantumness. That's when you can just stand up and say, I'm a conduit for Source, doing soul progression and DNA allocation. They can't just say that. I've been trained over how many lifetimes? And every day I do my work. Every day I'm connecting with Source. I'm connecting with the higher realms. I'm bringing downloads. I do my channeling, right? I do my channeling. That's what I do. I sit down every day and I write it out. I channel. I do my work because I want to see the realms. I want to see into the windows of all my mansions. I want to help people evolve beyond darkness. I want to help people evolve beyond these dark beliefs and these dark practices of wherever these people got these beliefs from. They're absolutely and utterly going to take themselves into the darker realms, hell. There can be no other way. You will never get seen. You will never be ranked. You will never be given spiritual ranking. You will never be given your spiritual cloak. You will never be given your spiritual mantle. You will never be given your spiritual staff. You will never be given your spiritual initiative. This is why I said last video, everybody on earth right now, if you are a practitioner in any way of whatever you call yourself, because everybody comes from different beliefs, it's meant to be that way. Wherever you call yourself right now, connect with your higher self. If you are not connecting with your higher self every day, you should be doing it every day. Your higher self is the one taking you through your unique soul's blueprint with source. And that is whatever you're meant to learn, whether you're meant to sit down for a little while, whether you're meant to stop practicing for a little while, whether you're meant to start going within and knowing what's right for you. You could be going on a totally different trajectory than what you've been brought up to think or think you were meant to be. If you are not connecting with your higher self, you have no idea what your divine soul blueprint is. That is all of you. God has a plan for you. So anybody that is practicing in spell work and things like that, I don't do spell work, I do healing. I have many timelines because this is why I had to go in here, because I had many timelines in the dark occults. I know how to navigate energies. I was the only one that could do and be the light in these people's lives because they were the darkest of the darkest. And that's why most of them will not be coming back. They have not done an ounce of work on themselves, and they will never touch my timeline again. I was sent by God to go into this dark family and be the light for all of these. And ever since I was born, there was no taking and harvesting, blocking and raping, taking and stealing and frauding and defaming and fabricating and hallucinating and delusions and manipulations and false stories. I mean, you can't even count. It was amazing. I survived. God had to bring me back 4 times. That's how horrible it was. And it went right on from church to state. There wasn't an ounce of me that wasn't affected. And that's again, I still have to do the transmutation of 50 people in various aspects of creation, various aspects of society. And there was people knowing what was going on. There was people a part of wanting to take out a master healer. They did spell work, they falsified paperwork, they fabricated paperwork. They did their death rituals, their jar rituals, their voodoo rituals. I mean, it really amazes me that people are willing to be this vile to somebody that the only person I ever spoke with was my ex. So that was whoever all these people are, I've never spoke with them in person, ever. Never spoke with any of these people. 50 of these people that have been doing what they've been doing never ever spoke with me. They never ever faced me. They never ever knew me. They never knew the amazing mom that I have been. They never know the amazing person that I am. They have no idea the amazing healer that I am. They have no idea about anything other than they live within their own self-hate and no sense of health. The disconnection they have no connection with source at all. That's their choosing. The disconnection from source, the disconnection from spirit, the disconnection from who you are is why everything that I'm bringing up about the disassociation of church and state. Some of the churches and some of the top people in the church and some of the top people in leadership have an utter disconnection from spirit. And some of them have affiliations with the underground, the black web, and trafficking. And that's why I was listening, and my audible skills are getting really, really good. So last night I had a really cool experience. My audible skills, I was hearing all of these different groups that had to do with different secret societies and divine masculines that were infecting other people and not telling the people when they were having sexual relations with them that they had certain diseases and things like that. So those were coming up in the audiences. So when I'm shown those different audible experiences, I'm meant to bring it out in the collect. It's very important because when somebody is living in this energy and they're not disclosing their sexual diseases and things like that, it affects the people that are in a higher vibration. So that's why we said in our last video, it's very important that you absolutely know who you are. You're standing in your power, you're standing in your truth. And when you're becoming sharing of your life force to anybody, see if it's a poly or group experience, which I don't recommend because it's messy and most people are not healed. And then you're sharing the entities of everybody else. Your life force is your life force with God, your connection with God, and how you use your life force, your sacredness of your life force, your honoring of your life force, your initiations with your life force, your treating your life force with care and self-love and self-practice and honoring it with the highest levels of, source, 13th dimension. All that you do with your life force and everything and everyone around you. So if you have a disease and you're not telling those people you're sharing your life force with, you're affecting everything that person is affected. So now this person is now affected with that lower vibrational energy or entity. Some of these people and the sex cults, because they've been doing so much black magic and dark magic, and this is, again, I brought up many videos, go back to my videos, those that have been doing energy work, sexual harvesting, sex magic, and they use life force in a sexual way with intention, they are actually diseased and they're moving themselves out and they're manifesting themselves out because they're complete disregard and disintegrity, no integrity whatsoever. I've been spoon feeding everybody about the importance of life force and the sacredness of life force, but if people choose to keep thinking that they are manifesting and harvesting off other people's energy by doing sexual harvesting rituals, by doing elite soul harvesting and those types of things, they will manifest themselves into disease or manifest their way out. Because they've been spoon-fed and they've been told, if this is how you choose to use your sexual energy and you're choosing to infect people and not tell them, you're getting parts of that because you've chosen to have a sexual relationship with somebody that has been lying and manipulating. Because these people that do this are very expert in their manipulations. They're called romance, I think they're called. And some of them do have, the people that I was, that they were attacking me, they did have experiences in romances where there were many. There were poly, it was all poly, and it was a cult and a coven where they all had interrelations with each other. And all of them had, infected each other. Because that was they all had lack of self. They all had disconnection with spirit. They didn't care about their life force. They only wanted to use life force to manifest. It's greed. It's gluttony. It's sexual depravity. It's sexual debauchery. They are not healing. They chose to not heal. They chose to use and abuse the sexual life force. So if you choose to use and abuse life force, which most of the people on our planet are not awake yet because the light wisdoms are not out there, this is where everybody on the channel share and start being of higher integrity with your life force. Start clearing your chakras out daily. Clear your sexual life force out daily and go celibate for, as long as you can to start clearing that sacral energy and the root chakra out. Because it's all connected to your heart chakra. It's all connected to all your other chakras. So if your lower chakras are not clear, those higher chakras cannot reach up as high as it can. That's why, again, if we look at vibrational energy in the chakra systems, these people that have chosen this practice, none of their higher chakras are working. They're even shut down. And this is why they end up going into entropy and death. Because if your chakras cannot get that light, if you're not going up in vibration, all the lower chakras will just go into entropy. Because again, the highest trickles down to the lowest, and if you're not working with those higher chakras to down and clear out the lower chakras, then you cannot evolve. Because remember, anything that is physical, whether it's the body or the earth, if there is no light, it will go into entropy. It will disintegrate. So again, everything in our world from here on out is about energy. Everything from here on out is about our chakra systems and our energy fields. You're not working with the energy fields if you don't want to understand the energy fields, if you don't want to understand your chakra system, or whatever it is, it's your choice. But this is, from here on out, this is the way. We are multi-vibrational beings. 5D is all about the energy systems. You have energy fields. You have 5 or 8 energy fields, and it's a foot field around you. We are micro, macro of the universe. So we have chakras all up and down our body. And if these lower chakras, if these lower chakras are still in darkness and you've abused your sacral energy, you've abused your sexual life force, not clearing out these chakras, if you're not clearing these lower chakras out, these higher chakras cannot get the light down because the light comes from the pineal all the way down. And it's up to you to command that light to go into the chakras and pull those energies out and close those demons out. If you've been sexually abused as a child, those energies and entities will stay down there. This is where we have to really understand what I'm talking about as energy, because there's going to be a lot of children come up from the trafficking that we're going to help. So we have to understand the multidimensional, the soul's blueprint, who has a soul, all your soul fragments in the darker realms, and how you're going to pull those in to be healed. That's your 51%, and how all of your energy systems and working with light every day and clearing out your chakras and aligning your chakras so you're balanced and you're in harmony and you're grounding to the earth. All of these things that I teach in a multidimensional perspective is going to assist you for you to determine on what earth you sit on. Hello, beautiful goddess. Hello, my beautiful goddess, right? So if you're working with energy and the chakra systems, you're going to assist yourself. Working with your chakras every day is going to assist you being in your connection with your higher self. because your higher self knows your chakra system, your higher self knows what realm you're going into, your higher self knows everything about what you've cleared out, what you've moved through. So your higher self is always going to guide you. Your higher self has all of your guides. Sometimes you have anywhere from 3 to 7 guides, and your guides help you move through whatever you're working through. That's why we said in our last video, this transgender person that's in a male body, but is presenting a feminine energy to all of in its soul contract, the mother, the brother, the sister, the friend. But this energy is being a very powerful player of light to say, no, I'm comfortable in my divine feminine energy. And I want to say this very important because I forgot to mention in my last video. As I was listening to my video, I forgot to mention this one very important part. I suggest those that are truly on the path of consciousness, go back and listen and watch our videos a couple of times and make notes. That's doing the path work. What one important point I made is that this person here in the masculine body, but is presenting itself as a transgender, we call it transgender, we want to show it translateral. The translateral energy that it's moving through is showing to all the people in its soul contract, no, I can be comfortable in my divine feminine energy. Why? Because on most of our earths, as we said earlier, most of the earths and most of the people on earth, the divine feminine voice has been taken right. So it's very important for this person to exemplify the divine feminine energy, because the divine masculines on the planet for the last 5,000 years have totally been not healing their divine feminine energies, not healing their divine feminine wounds. And most of the people that have been suppressing me and trying to take me out have been divine masculine. There are some divine feminine, but most of them have been divine masculine for me not to ever reach my highest divine feminine free flow experience, because they're wounded. They're not healed. And most, if you look at our collective, there is no divine feminine voice. There is no divine feminine energy. There's no divine knowledge about divine equity. There is no knowledge on our earth at all about the light body system, about light wisdoms. There is no information or knowledge or information intelligence about divine feminine intelligence. And if you take away the divine feminine intelligence, what we said earlier to the leaders and the church people, if you take the only person and the only key that is, if you take out that only light that is on that planet, showing everybody how to heal, showing everybody how to ascend, showing everybody how to move through their soul's evolution in higher order way, in higher quantum ways, in higher natural laws ways, aligned with the Divine Father's plan. If you take and kill this person, what does that say to you? And what does that say to the earth here? You've taken the only light out, and therefore this will go into disintegration, Epstein Earth, and it will disintegrate. Nobody on Earth, nobody on Epstein Earth will come forward in another reincarnation. So the entire planet has to understand and really sit at the table and talk and have responsible, mature, beautiful conversations about what reincarnation really is. Allow church and state to sit by the wayside and come up with a new soul expression about what is reincarnation. You cannot come into a 5D earth if you're practicing low vibrational 3D experiences and you think that you're always going to have a chance to come back to earth. You don't. This is the last 3D earth. We're now moving into 5D, and this is 5D. You cannot get from here to here just by going back into death and coming back in a body. You haven't earned the consciousness of all these 51% of your karma that you need. You need education. You need the soul's lessons of why you chose those beliefs in divine feminine masculine that were remaining out in a fragment. You need that dodecahedron experience to be brought back into the center of you, the God of you. That's the 13th dimension. This is a top-down effect, and this is the side effect. This is looking at the side perspective of you, because remember, right? The side perspective of you. You guys tell me if you like this view when I'm getting my illustrations. The side version of you looks like this. It is a perspective of the micro-macro, the universe, right? So you're spiraling around like this, you spiral around like this, you spiral around like this, and if soul fragment way out here comes in, it's called, maybe this one is discrimination on divine feminine leadership. So you have to bring this in, and you have to sit at the table and say, okay, God, what is this discrimination I have here about divine feminine leadership? Let's heal it. So then you're going to activate the root chakra. You're going to activate all your chakras, because you're now going to enlighten these chakras, because the lower chakras is where maybe you had an abuse by a mother in another timeline. And you have to heal that divine feminine energy. But many of these people that were working on this earth, they had a lot of divine feminine woundings. They were not looking at their own divine feminine energies. They were not looking at their own divine, they were suppressing it. And then that's why they do a lot of the closet debauchery experience, secret sex and all those kind of things, because they weren't willing to heal those lower vibrational chakras. If these vibrational chakras are not healed, if you are not integrating those soul fragments left out in the darkness here, if you are not healing, say, this sexual wound here, because you had incest when you were younger and your family had incest with you, if you're not healing that wound, that chakra will stay dark and it will not rotate. It rotates very slowly. Space. Those chakras are little spirals like this. Like this is a top down. This is what your chakras look like. So the very darkest chakras will look like this, because you're not healing. It's dark. It rotates very slow. And that's what the people that have been there, if they're in a poly, if they're in a cult or gang that is sex oriented, they're doing sex harvesting and they're doing sexual orgies and sexual rituals, they're bringing darkness to all of these lower chakras. And as I said, it always trickles down from the 13th dimension down, because remember, we are the universe. So the vessel itself is the universe. So if you're not playing in light and you're not carrying in light and you're not effusing yourself with light and you're not harmonizing as light, these lower chakras will never get cleared, and you will continually have those kinks. You will continually have sexual depravities, because these are not healed. They're in demonic entity stage because they've done so many dark practices. And then again, you can never raise up, you can never move forward in a higher consciousness, because again, it's always the trickle down and moving up. You heal the lower chakras first. That is your stability, abundance, your sexual creativity. And this is why the lower vibrational people, they don't have creativity, because it's all in the lower chakras. And they never feel safe. They're always in fear, because that's, again, the lower chakras. So everything is a manifestation of Source Creator. Who are we as Source? What do we exist within? You are the universe. You're a holographic experience of the universe. Everything is about your psyche experiences, your soul's blueprint, and you bring it in and heal it. And therefore, everything within you becomes a rainbow, a rainbow, a rainbow. And isn't it lovely that the LGBTQT+, one of their symbols for their experience is the rainbow? Because they're okay to express themselves, whatever body they have, go back and express themselves in whatever energy that soul experience needs at that time. And they're playing a very important role for everybody that they've come in contact with. They said, because of the divine feminine energy that has been so it's been abused, and the divine feminine's voice is nowhere on our planet at all, these people have played a very good role to project that fluky and radical self-acceptance to be in a divine feminine energy while they're in a masculine body, or vice versa. They're meant to play that role for everybody around them to say, no, I can have fluidic energy of whatever I want to be translaterally, because remember, it's all about the infinity back and forth of your left and your right, divine feminine, divine masculine energies through the Kundalini. Your Kundalini wants to flow back and forth. Your Kundalini wants to be fluid. Your wants to be the infinity with Source Creator. You've got to bring in those fragments and those particles of separation and discrimination. Everybody that's been practicing in the dark entropy, they have to all sit at the table, and they have to think about what I thought about reincarnation, but it was not what I was taught or told. And all of these beliefs through dogmatic and social systems about reincarnation, everybody has to be brought into a higher truth. You're not automatically given another life. You have not worked through your deeds of this lifetime. It would be a good start for you to do right now, because this is the higher order law. I'm in higher justice courts, spiritual courts. Part of my role is to play justice and walk with Anubis. This soul's evolution, this is the journey of soul's evolution. And there will be some in the family that have played very dark roles that will just be moved off, and you just simply won't be able to see them. They will be on a low entropy earth that will soon manifest its way out, because they cannot keep up the base medium. Remember, your light system, everything that you are, your core vibration, your core vibration, your core vibration, your core vibration, emulates out like this and shines light to all aspects of you. This is where we say every day, do your affirmations when you get up. My intentions, my directions, my focus, because I'm shining light to all fragments of me, and whatever's going to come up, I get to integrate and I get to make whole. That's through the radical self-acceptance, the 3 A's. That's your alchemy. And as you do so, your aura field brightens. Your aura field gets brighter. Your aura field gets clearer. You cannot have a bright aura field if you're living in a lie. If you're living in your chakras are dark and your fields are dark. And as a healer, as a spiritual healer, that's what I see. I see the fragments. I then go back and I do the Akashic reading. Where did the wound happen? It happened here because remember we said your memories are not in your brain. It's actually in your psyche field. It's in your 51% of your consciousness. I can see that. When I'm reading, if somebody is in front of me and they have a wound, if this is the lower conscious and they come to me as a healer, that memory is there, and they're cycling in this pattern. It's a pattern of sexual depravity, or it's a pattern of self-hate. It's a pattern, whatever this pattern is. I don't see it in the brain. I see it in the consciousness field. I see it in the psyche field. The memories are held in the memories are held in your consciousness. It's a consciousness experience spiraling now. It's not held in the brain. I don't look at the brain. I might be seeing in the brain if there's an illness or something. I see a darkness in the brain, and that shows me there's something going on in the brain. You may want to go get checked. That's what I see as a seer. I see it as the psyche. That's what I see. I see the psyche. I see the energy field. I see the Akash. That's what I see, the Akash. And it's on whatever earth or whatever galactic earth, or like Pleiades, Arcturus. That's what I see. If this is Arcturus, Sirius, whatever, right? Because they're all planets with life on them. So anyways, I'm going to end this off here. Let me know in the comments, do you like this where I've got all the visions and I'm just actually teaching because I want to give you different perspective, different views. I want to start maximizing how we are multidimensional, having the many mansions. So I gave you this as an experience today of the many mansions of the heavens and what earth you're on. It's all about your vibration. Are you keeping up with the median? And then really look at the core vibrational beliefs about what you've been taught, told, or shown in dogma or social or state. And then really look at how the consciousness is on our planet with reincarnation and all the beliefs about that. Allow everybody to have their own beliefs, but we wanted to bring this forward as today because I had that channel from Source this morning about soul wisdoms and the evolutionary process of the soul, and bring it into higher vibrational dimensional understanding so that we evolve beyond what we have been taught, told, and shown. Everything is about your soul's blueprint. Everything is about why you're here experiencing what you're experiencing, and then bring a further expansiveness because we want to talk about the feminine energies that are now starting to take a more balanced approach and more balanced energy state on our, we're moving into 5D. So divine feminine will be equal in its divine, that is the intention of the Father's plan, for divine feminine to stand in her power, divine masculine to stand in his power, and have divine feminine more fluidly upon our planet in the various roles that divine feminine can play, because it has been taken out. There's been a red flag on divine feminine. So that's why there has been a lot of trans that have come forward to emulate the divine feminine energy. That's why we're seeing a lot of very fluid, younger generations be very fluid in their like non-binary. They don't want to be classified as anything, right? There's so many beautiful children that are challenging all old world definitions of gender and who people think they are, because again, it has brought a lot of imbalance, and a lot of these children are here to play as reflectives to all of the darker energies in their contracts. That's their role. And again, that's why I love talking about soul blueprints, because everybody is a unique puzzle piece and everybody plays a beautiful perspective. So always go back to your soul's blueprint and know you are here for divine reasons, and you are the only one with you and God and your higher self, that why you're going through what you're going through and the beautiful part that you play for others. So never ever play small. I love you, dear lighter ones. Anybody that would like to book a session, donations, I love you, I love you, I love you for that has sent me a donation. I ate this week because of you. Thank you, sunshine, and thank you to the rose in my garden. I love you so much, and you know who you are. I love you, I love you, I love you. And make comments in the comment field, or just put a comment when I upload the video if you like this type of, I can do one like this once a week. I love you, everybody. I love you. I love you. And if you want to book a session for learning how to do your alchemy, please do. I love you all. I love you all. You are my rainbows. Bye.